the 2000s is one of the most interesting decades in all of culture and everything. You had rock bands, the likes of Shinedown and Skillet Killin'. You had metal bands going crazy. You had pop culture, like the likes of 50 Cent and Eminem. And then you had wrestling games. You know, we had SmackDown versus Raw. SmackDown versus... Not SmackDown versus, my bad. We had SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. We had SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. We had SmackDown Bring It, Bring It. You had all those games. Those were like from the one verse, I think, from the 90s. Yeah, you're No Mercies. But as soon one day, IGN dropped a trailer. SmackDown versus Raw. And GR saying business is about to get picked up when you like see Cena and Orton head to head, the new faces of the company. Fast forward, we had 06, 07, and after those games. All right, 05, that the first game. We're not here to talk about what to say, but fast forward, we head to 08. After we had an incredible run of SmackDown vs. Raw games in other series that made video games much better. So we had those series, and we were in the middle of it, and we had 08. And it's a controversial opinion of how people feel about 08. Some people love it, some people hate it. But I'm here to talk about that. I think, you know, how I feel about the game. So, back in 08, you get the game, but you get 07. So, 07 were most of those games that you were, like, really hyped about because it also had one of the most crazy storylines ever. You're having Michelle McCool, that Candice Michelle literally turning you into a boogeyman. Like, that's crazy enough. So 07 was a crazy game. But you had to 08. 08 comes out. People get 08. You had all your PS3s and Xbox 360s and PS3. That was the first game on PlayStation 3, which was SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. So, we get SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. And then you load it up, you see all the stuff, you see the new fighting styles announced on IGN, how, you know, like, crazy shit is gonna happen. And Sandman being, like, a big picture of the game, and, like, him being, like, doing some crazy stuff. You had ECW for the first time going in crazy. You had such good stuff in that game. But as soon as you open up the game, you go to exhibition, you see all those matches, we go for a match, and soon you get to play, you know, and we're like, okay, it's maybe a little slow, but it's fine. Okay, it's fine. I think the game is pretty fine. It's not that slow, but, you know, it couldn't be worse. So then you go to the 27 for mode. You're like, okay, you tried all your matches. You figure out, you're like, okay, these matches are good. Obviously, this was the start of the LS system where you can get a weapon, you know, instead of not even getting the idea what will be the weapon. This was a more easier way for all newcomers who didn't get it too much how we're gonna get the weapon and which weapon they wanted to get and where would the weapon be. Like, people had you know, memorized back then. But the crazy fact is that now you can do that. Obviously now it's really, like, you can obviously do that for a long time. But at that time it was new and it was fun. So you get the weapon. And after you get the weapon, you have kendo sticks, you have, like, a lot of stuff in it. You know, it's really fun. You go, like, that's the extreme rules version. You have Sandman going crazy again. You have CM Punk debuting in a wrestling game. I'm pretty sure he was not in a Ring the Water or whatever. I don't know if TNA had a game at that time. I'm not sure. So they had CM Punk debuting in a wrestling game. So you had a lot of, like, interesting. So you go to the 24/7 mode. You check the 24/7 mode. It's a new game mode. So they have finished season mode completely. Season mode's out. They've been doing season mode for, I think, before SVR. They had been doing it before SVR. So season mode was kind of done so they were done with season mode. And now they're focusing on 24/7 mode. So that when you open up 24/7 mode, you, like, check all your stuff. You check all like, you check that you can play as a superstar, you can play as a GM mode. So you go to check the superstar. Okay, as you start the game, but then you see that you have so less wrestlers to play with. You're like, oh, okay. Oh, I cannot even wild out a Sandman even. You know? Okay, so you choose your wrestler. For example, everybody chooses Jeff Hardy. Come on, it's like, was the obvious thing. But like, you had not that many options. And again, the roster was not the best. Because all of the stuff with Arrow 4 happening, I'm not going to talk about that, but, you know, everything and injuries going on in 2007, not the best year for the WWE in terms of how they were, you know, shown. So, the game also didn't have the best roster. So, you go in, you check it out, you meet Vince in a ring, in WrestleMania, they make you a star, and then you start building up, but you get the same entire cutscenes. So people talk about something issue with S4. I can agree that, dude, this was so annoying. Like, every time you have to walk through a women's locker room, and you have to stare at them, and you have to do that, you have to do some pull-ups and push-ups, and there's some backstage scenes, and it's just, what the hell? Like, it's a crazy thing, and it makes you, like, get nauseatic in the first place. Because you know the same scenes over and over and over again. There's just nothing too different about it. It's the same scene over and over and over again. Like, you can't lose your mind, but then you eventually like get sometimes new scenes. So, playing as a superstar in 24/7 mode, you know, that was an interesting thing, I can say. Not really crazy bad. There's been much worse career modes and stuff, but you know, the cutscenes, I'm gonna say it's or whatever, you know, 24/7 mode. Whatever. It was a career mode, more like, but you know, whatever. So I think it was a pretty okay, but the cutscenes were really nauseatic, all I say. Now you had to 24/7 GM mode, and now obviously the more problem is that you don't have a great roster anymore. And that, you know, that kind of sucks, because if you don't have a great roster, it means you have less people to get and less people to add to your roster. So you don't have that great roster, you head to your GM, you choose to be ECW, SmackDown, and Raw, and as everybody knows, everybody was mostly SmackDown. But ECW is also really fun. The ECW, in my opinion, is more fun. I've played as Raw once, but it was like, yeah, Raw was just weird, I don't know. So, SmackDown and ECW. So, ECW and SmackDown. So, you have all your rosters, but the thing is, there are just like 14 to 15 people that you can get. Otherwise, you have to make your stars popular, and you have to like work harder, and you have to like give them popularity. That you want to get some random wrestlers for some, and you make them that popular, just send them over, and you can get some top wrestlers on your show. Yeah, you can do that. I think the roster is the problem in also GM mode. But GM mode is, I tell you, man, it's one of the fun GM modes I have like ever played. I kind of like, I played 2K23 GM mode, I played 2K22, but dude, I kind of got bored a bit, you know, it was kind of tiresome. But with this GM mode, dude, I don't get bored, dude. Like, it's just so fun. It gets a bit, it gets annoying, and it gets really, like, that kind of, but dude, the GM mode of SDR08 is just the peak GM mode. I think there's no GM mode. 06 had a great GM mode probably, but the menu designs and how it looks and how it's used as might be a small roster, but if you have with this free SDR08, I think the best brand to keep on GM mode is ECW, and that's how I've kept it always. So dude, still to this day I play it, and oh my god, GM mode is undoubtedly one of the best things in SPROA. And I just talked about everything, and I highlighted everything, man. And like I talked about how good GM mode is, and how much like interesting it is, and how more like it's more fun It's, in my opinion, it's more fun than like 06 and 07 in a way, you know? You have more to do, you have more options, you have more fun, it's more of a good-looking GM mode, and rather a awful-looking GM mode like 08 or 07. Sorry, 06 or 07. So, is the game overhated? Yeah, it is overhated, but it shouldn't be. Because, man, you've seen 2K20, I don't need to tell you, you have seen 2K15, you have seen SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, you know? I don't need to tell you, bro. I don't think it should be overhated, but it's hated by people. It's like CM Punk, in a way. Some people love him, some people hate him. That's the relationship you got with SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Alright, I'm out of here.